everyone, it's Allie here. Today I'm going to be talking about tips and tricks for correct posture and alignment. I know it sounds really basic and really small, but it is a very big deal and a huge fundamental building block of ballet. And yes, I may overcomplicate it, but these are all things that are really helpful to have running through your mind while you're in ballet class and while you're checking yourself in the mirror. Just some things to remember to make sure that you are in proper alignment and get the most out of your class and maximize your potential. So let's get started. First off, check out this picture from Dance Anatomy. It perfectly illustrates how our body has a natural curvature even with a center plumb line going straight down the middle. It's important that you maintain a natural curve because that actually is correct posture. You don't want your spine to be literally straight all the time. So keep that in mind as we go through this video. Let's start from the top and work our way down. So first off, with your head, you want to make sure that you feel it lifted and feel your neck pulled up long through your spine like you have a little string coming out the top of your head. And a common mistake that I see a lot of times is someone will have great posture, great arms, except that they're looking down at the floor. So you can pretty much have a very decent head placement if you just remember to keep your eyes lifted, because that will automatically put just a little bit of a breath under your chin. So you want to be slightly above, looking straight ahead. A lot of times we don't realize how much our head actually affects our movements and our placement. Our heads weigh a lot. A fun way to illustrate this is have a friend lay on the floor and have them totally relax. Don't let them help you at all, and then just lift up their head and see how much it weighs. It's a lot heavier probably than you think or realize that you're just consciously aware of. So if you're looking down, and especially when turning or trying to balance, if you're looking down here, look at all of a sudden you have this massive bowling ball of weight leaning you slightly forward, or even if you're looking too far up and you're really overdoing it, you'll be leaning back. Same with side to side, and actually a little bit of a trick that one of my ballet teachers told me, who was a former dancer with the San Francisco Ballet Company. When we were balancing an attitude, to tilt our head slightly in the opposite direction of the leg. So for example, if we had our right leg up in attitude, to tilt our head slightly to the left, and bam, there's your balance because you got a little bit of counterweight going on there. So remember, try to keep your head centered and keep your chin lifted, eyelashes up. Okay, next let's talk about shoulders and upper back. This is really tricky, and I'm probably going to make it more complicated than it really is, but it is quite detailed, so try to follow along with me. Once again, remember the picture from Dance Anatomy of the curve of the spine and how it still maintains a center line. So our spines are meant to have a curve, natural curve, even when we are standing in correct posture. So two common mistakes is to sort of underdo it, letting your shoulders roll forward, and my chest is concaving in here like this. It can almost be easier to go the other direction and overdo it. Now, I'm too curved, see, here in the back, and I'm not flat across my back. I'm pushing my shoulders back too far. Do you see? You actually want to feel your shoulder blades pull apart. If this is your back here, you want to feel this lengthening apart. In fact, have a friend help you with this. It really helps to sort of feel it across your back. So stand like this and have your friend come up to you and just pull their hands across your back like this and feel your shoulder blades pull apart and feel it lengthen across your back. Okay? So yes, you want your shoulders to be back. Yes, you want them to be down, but you don't want to be doing this. And again, this really throws you off with balances and with turns. For example, I do this with chaîné turns all the time. I lean too far back and I lose my balance because I'm not centered. I'm not on my plumb line. And so when I turn, I wobble right off because this part is not correctly aligned. This is where using your core comes into play and really helps you to keep this strong. If you keep your core engaged, it prevents you from overarching backwards because then you have to stretch and relax those muscles. So keeping this engaged keeps your back straight and strong. Try to keep it flat across the back. None of this. Pull them apart, keep that flat while keeping them down at the same time. Forget about the breath under your chin. Having a strong back is very important. My teachers remind me all the time that this is what your arms work off of. If you don't have your back engaged, then your arms can kind of flop around and do whatever they want. If you have a droopy elbow and a lip hand like this, what is this doing? It's kind of just hanging off of your shoulder. You have to engage your back as well and lift it. Let's talk about the core, let's talk about the booty and the hips. Again, this is one where I tend to overdo, and I think good posture, at least when I first started, and I still catch myself doing, is over-rolling my shoulders and over-tucking my booty. So I get like this weird, I feel very pulled up and I feel very lifted, but I'm all off kilter and I lose that good curve and I lose that good lengthening of the spine. Your hips and your butt and your core are all working together. So as your core is lifting and tightening, it's helping to keep your pelvis rotated forward, and same with your butt muscles. But you have to remember, a lot of times we try to force turnout by essentially, to over-exaggerate, pulling our butt in between our legs. So like, we over-tuck so far that we end up doing something like this, okay? So you don't want this. Your turnout is actually coming from inside of your hips. And yes, our butt muscles do assist, but just try not to over-clench. You don't ever want to feel like you're clenching anything, because ballet is all about strength with flexibility, so we want that lengthening effect. So if you clench, of course, that's going to do the opposite. It's going to shorten everything. Now, a very easy way to spot this, in fact, my teacher corrected me this just recently, and I didn't realize it before, is when I'm in plie, I used to do this. So, see how my pelvis is tilted forward? I no longer have a butt. I'm sort of gripping way too hard here on my quads. You want to make sure that you still have proper alignment. See that? That's just about right there. You definitely don't want to let this happen either, but you don't want that. So again, it's all about finding that happy medium, maintaining the natural spine curve, not over clenching or over relaxing anywhere. The first thing you should know about your knees is that they need to be pulled up. So if you stand relaxed like this and activate your quads, see, you want them to be up, not relaxed like this, which is very easy to do. I tend to let my knees drop a lot, and I'm sure it's even happened in this video, but I'm trying to remember. And it is so common to make a mistake with rolling in on your arches that I have to talk about it at length, and especially why it happens. Most of the time when we roll in our arches, it's either A, you don't realize it. Well, most of the time you don't realize it, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. But B, it's compensating for lack of turnout. Yes, we all want gorgeous turnout, and yes, we all want perfect fifths, but if it's gonna cause you to do this, okay, to force your turnout, you don't want to do it because it's unhealthy for your ankles, unhealthy for your feet, and it's bad for your joints because you're putting weird pressure in a lot of places. First of all, we want to remember that the turnout's coming from here. When you rotate out from a turned-in position, feel it rotating in your hips. And try not to use rosin on the bottom of your shoes to get your feet to stick and pull them back like this so that you can have a perfect fit. You don't want to feel twisting in your knees or your ankles, okay? And so, a very, very good test to see if you're forcing your turnout or not is to simply take a nice little plie. And if you do this, then there's a good chance that you need to fix something. My teachers say this all the time. Track your knees over your feet. That means if you imagine the path that your knee is taking as you plie out, you want to make sure that it's following your toes and not going out somewhere over here. You want to make sure it's following the same line. So if I had a line right here, and my knee would be going straight out over that line and coming back in. You don't want to roll in your arches. Incredibly easy to do, very difficult habit to break, and it just takes a lot of mental concentration. Just think about feeling your pinky toes on the floor. Think about feeling this edge of your foot on the outside. If you can feel that firm and evenly placed on the floor, then you know you're not doing this, because when I do this, I could slip a whole stack of paper underneath that foot. You want the weight to be equally distributed on both legs. Now, as you plie, take your calves apart. Don't let them collapse into each other like this. Unless you have a perfect fifth and you can't help that your calves touch, you actually don't want your calves to touch when you plie, because if they're following that straight line out across your foot, then they won't touch. Draw the calves apart. Don't let them collapse in on each other like this. So, you may have to open up your fifth a little bit. It's nothing that any of us want to do, but it will help you work on correcting things from the inside out so that you can actually have a real turned out fifth. Okay, so once more from top to bottom. Heads are centered, chin lifted, eyes up. Back lengthened, keeping the natural curve. Chest is open. Shoulder blades are open. Shoulders are down. Stomach muscles are engaged. Butt is tucked but not clenched. Knees lifted. Arches lifted. Thank you so much for watching. That is about it for today. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/themissallykay, and I will see you all in the next video. Don't forget, if you have any questions or comments at all, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and hopefully I can get back to you. Thanks guys. Bye!